Yo, it's Uncle Mijir here. A quick disclaimer before we start. I decided to pick at least one tank of each nation, because otherwise the British tanks would have ruled supreme on this list. At number 10, we have a really sad tank. Sad to look at it, sad to play it, sometimes even sad to destroy it. It can only be, of course, the mouse. Just look at the size of this thing. With that size, it's asked to be shot or bombed. That's what happens when you have only a ruler and a cup of coffee to draw the armor of a tank. Or when you are 7 years old and have some random pieces of Lego laying around and you decided to assemble a tank, and with only 3 pieces you came out with this. And that was the physical horror of it. When it comes to experiencing of playing this thing, however, the horror is even worse. It's almost role-playing as cops in horror movies, because it takes forever to get in battle with this thing. And when it gets, you better pray for the crook metal gods that it didn't get up tier, otherwise, oh boy, you're in for a show. Ah, by the way, it doesn't need to be up tier to be bombed, so there's that. A truly horrific experience for an ugly tank. Coming at number 9, a Japanese tank so discomfort that it could be coming from a serious car accident. The clumsy Igoko. At first, the Igoko doesn't look that ugly compared to other Japanese tanks of their era. But the more you look at, the more sinister it becomes. Let's start from the front. What the fuck was this upper glass supposed to be? A wall? You know what it reminds me? There it was involved in a high-speed accident and went front first into a concrete wall and pancaked the front so hard that it became this thing. And try to imagine this thing getting shot. If the crew survive, the ones located in the hole need to leave through this hatch in the front of the tank. So not only they would have spewed bolts because of the riveted armor, but they would have to exit the tank directly in front of sight of the enemy fire. Not a honorable way to die if you ask me. But the cherry on top of the cake comes from the reports of Marines during the war that this tank and the Hago could have the turret disabled by simply jamming a knife or a rock in the gap of the turret ring. Yeah, a knife and a rock. Even a caveman could disable this tank. A caveman. I feel sorry for the players that need to go suffer a bit to unlock better vehicles in this tech tree. Let's do 3 seconds of silence in their respect. Okay, now moving to number 8. The next tank is a failure from the French on attempt to create their own Panther, the ARL-44. What a ugly tank! Really out of proportion. I think the hull was supposed to be a mixture of a Panther hull and a B-bone hull, and the already dated trend back in the days when the ARL designed of making the tracks go over the hull, and a weird ass turret completely out of proportion compared to the hull size. They tried a different turret in the next iteration of this tank, but it didn't help that much. It actually made it look like they inserted Tony Hawk's Pro Skater big head cheating on it. Now, if there is one thing that makes me wonder every time I see this tank, is what is the deal with all those exhaust pipes? There are 16 of them. Is one for each cylinder? Did the engine came from a Bugatti Veyron or something like that? Why? It doesn't make any sense, but I'm gonna be real, it looks metal as fuck. I have been using sentences to describe tanks in this video, and for the ARL, I'm going to say it's a dumpster rapid sadness. At number 7, we have a weird looking build with a cannon instead of a shoe lens that can only be moonwalked through the battlefield, the Archer. Since I unlocked it back in 2018, I placed these stickers on it just for fun, and unintentionally I ended up making it look like a spider from Don't Starve. And thanks to this ugly face, I decided to make some weird and silly faces for other things to show in this video. So at least you learned something here, Archer. Even if it was because of your ugly face. Well, check the reverse speed of this metallic shoe. It can only go 3 km per hour in reverse. And then when it comes to get the fuck out of there, it drives like crazy compared to that. Anyone who has played this knows how painful it is to position this tank in a good spot. But once you get there, in a nice camp spot, this tank is nasty. Until you need to move again and go get bombed by airplane. Archer, a tank that took a fatality in Mortal Kombat. Number 6 on this list is not just a tank. It is a home appliance. A fridge of a cruel dictator on tracks. It committed war crimes without leaving evidence. The KV-2. It is the result of picking an already ugly tank and replace the turret with a fridge so it could carry a 152mm howitzer. The result? Another Tony Hawk big head cheat on a tank.
Huh?
And on this one you better watch out. This tall frigid thing increased the center of gravity of the tank so much that it could make it easily to flip over. On the other hand, while some other tanks on this list bring terror to the crew for having some shitty guns, this one brings terror to the enemy. No one wants to be pulverized by 5 kilograms of explosive and be gone from existence. But that's exactly what Big Goddess wanted. After all, there is no war crime without evidence. Coming up next, at number 5, a really weird little tank with a small PP for a gun, the FCM-36. This tank is known in the community as the Coney Head, but I kid you not, when I first saw this tank I thought it was the most patriotic French tank ever made, because its turret reminds me of a Rooster comb, and you know, Rooster being a French national symbol and all. This tank not just look ugly, but also funny. But the fun ends here, because the gun on this thing was so atrociously bad, not even the Germans want this tank with that. So the ones they captured, they removed the turret and start doing the Frankenstein SPG black magic on the hull. And with that, other monstrosities came to life. In-game Gaijin simply removed the possibility for new players to unlock the FCM-36 for it being too bad. For you guys that don't have this tank, don't worry, you'll only lose the chance of suffering. By looking at this angle, you may think nothing's wrong with it. It is. Fine, it is just another tank, but when the camera starts to rotate, heads might get hurt. Citizenwagen 17-4, or how I like to call it, the wrong aspect ratio tank. Its turret, it bends reality. Someone decided to use Nemo as a turret. My head just hurt to look at this thing, and that's why it's so above other tanks on this list. You actually feel in your body that this tank is wrong. Let me try to fix that just for a moment. Here.
Thank God.
It is not a bad tank to play. I actually like playing, but it's an ugly one to look at, that's for sure. Now things are going to get really ugly. Only monstrosities from now on. So for the third place, it can only be a British tank, of course. The 3-inch gun carrier. So, the British looked at the Germans' SPG and tank destroyers and said, "Oi chap, we need to make one of these for us." Wow. I could pass by a British for sure, yeah. So they pick a really ugly tank, in this case the Churchill, and use to make their version of the Yak Panther or whatever. And I'm really without words to describe it. I don't know if I call it an armored shoebox or an armored coffin. Or maybe a 3-inch pure ugliness. Like most of their tanks, it's really box look. Seriously, why did they at least try to angle their front armor? And space is not even a problem in this thing, just look at the X-ray, lots of room. I tried to Photoshop real quick angle version and became this thingamajigga here. I should think twice before roasting who designed this stuff. The battle for the first place was tough. Two monsters fighting for the highest place in the podium. I present you the ugly, sluggish, twisted, rejected tortoise. I told you I need to pick tanks for our donations, otherwise this video would be shaped like a Union Jack. First off, I would like to apologize all tortoises watching this video, wild ones and domestics. I'm really sorry that humans name a ugly ass tank after the naming of your species. Moving on to the freak on the screen. It is just me or this tank looks like a laundry tank on tracks? I mean, look at that gorgeous casted armor, that twinkly mini machine gun turret, that sync plug has mantle for the cannon. Let's not talk about that huge ass. Is me or is just getting hot in here? Oh yeah, it is this metallic shit combusting into unrecoverable wreck. Perfect, as all things should be. Before our number one, here are some honorable mentions. The American medium tank M2 reminds me of the exterminator event from Men in Black. The chubby Sherman T95 Third of Doom. M6A or something whatever, what the fuck is this? The German Neubau Fahrzeug. Soviet T-28. Soviet T-28 and Stalin's freezer. British Churchill, ugly as the namesake. Matilda, thankfully is not my girlfriend. Your nephew's tank drawing Challenger.
Excelsior!
The Giga Chad FV4005. The giant insect chieftain marksman. The obscene Australian AC-1. Japanese Rogo. These multiple turret tanks just look ridiculous. The ugliest MBT of all, STA. Taiwanese CM11, also known as a fridge of magnets. The Italian Breda 501, more like Brad 501. The big-nosed French monster, Sal 40. B1 Bis, a French Frankenstein. EBR, these things are so alien look. The Swedish Mad Max, and the Iron Board Bandkanon 1C. Congratulations, America! You got number one for the ugliest tank ever created. Coming from a rush project to fill a gap while a better tank was in development really explained this Frankenstein of a monster. The medium M3 Lee. In one of my videos where it showed up, I call it Amalgamation Abomination, and looking at it is easy to understand why. They gave you a 75mm cannon, but it was placed on a sponsor located at a hole with limited traverse instead of the turret. And speaking of that, it was a relatively small one with a 37mm cannon. And then they added another turret on the top of the turret with a dual machine gun. It looks like 3 tanks in one. A real armored monster. That's why M3 is number one on this list. Really ugly, flawed since conception, stopgap tank that quickly got obsolete in most theaters of war. And with that, we have reached the end of this video. I almost didn't make in time to release this video for Halloween. Right now, 1 AM October 31st, and I'm going through the last review on this video. I had some drawbacks, but managed to complete in time at least. I thank you for sticking to the end of this video. I really hope you like it, and if you're new here, consider subscribing, that will help me a lot. And for those who are keeping following my work, I'm really glad to see you around here. I'm sorry for the strong accent, because I have no problem listening or reading to English, but me speaking is quite rare actually. Take care, and until next time, nephews.